Okay, it says we're live. Hopefully everyone can hear us. We had a little bit of a technical failure on that first attempt there. All right, Jonathan, how are you this morning? We got Jonathan on board helping.
Doing good. Good morning. I still see a beautiful ship sailing on a ocean with a.
Yeah, you have to keep in mind you're on like a 5-second latency.
Oh boy.
Yeah. How's it look now? Did it update? Does it show me and you?
It doesn't look quite as good now. I see my face instead of your.
Right. Yeah. All right. So there's a little bit of latency. We got to let people get on board. We had the stream going. It takes a minute for it to show up in everybody's feed, But hey, how cool is it that we have this at all? We can go live on Saturday morning and have some fun. All right, I got last week's picture up there. I got my material camera. Oh, showing my foot. Let's get that in the right spot.
Lots of interesting materials here. My face and your foot.
Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff. There's a look at the real studio. Okay, we want to be able to see the paints, just in case it's important. Get that in there. All right. And here we are. Okay, so what are we going to paint? I've got this from last week because I thought, I felt like I had to hurry up and finish. I threw in that wave. I thought, maybe there's some follow-up that needs to be done. Also, I thought this is kind of a nice looking picture. It'd be cool to turn it into a more of a finished thing. But if someone else has a good idea, then
are you gonna keep the I wasn't here when you painted that. Is that grapes or is that flowers hanging off?
Those were the wisteria.
Wisteria. I couldn't think of the name of them.
Yeah, because I forget who submitted their work. And so it was on a subject of how to paint wisteria specifically.
I feel like you could keep that in the painting and have us be like either someone's.
We're like looking through some beautiful,
beautiful beachside cliff house. Or
yeah, I don't hate that idea. That's cool. We can do that. We'll leave it in. I mean, it looks kind of weird. This kind of looks like this is the tongue and groove ceiling of the. It's very, very industrial with the straight edge.
Doesn't look so. Make it look like it's part of the boat.
Well, we got to paint something, so just shoot out the ideas if you think of something. But I think it'd be nice to.
You could paint over it and finish this too. It is a good painting.
Now that we have a wave, we might as well put like a coast with something splashing on it, right? That would make sense.
Yeah, looks like you almost have one there on the left already.
Let's throw in some rocks. I think that's a good idea. So I'm gonna need some colors. All right, my go-to colors. What did I use? I used orange and white for that reflection, and I used black, just black, and that's all for the water, because I couldn't think of a color. And this, actually, that's obviously I didn't just use black, but on the darkest colors. What have you been up to, Jonathan?
I've just been kind of survival mode, honestly. Just trying to keep up with every new change life throws you.
Yeah. I don't know what you mean.
All kinds of new surprises that demand I focus on them.
Yeah. Okay.
But I have this long-term goal of starting a museum, and I've been reaching out to school teachers asking if there's any science exhibits I could build for their classrooms, and I finally got one to respond. So I've been building a shake table so they can simulate earthquakes in the classroom and
okay, that'd be neat.
Work on engineering little structures and see if they can figure out how to keep them standing on a.
That would be cool. I don't know what a shake table is.
Just a table that shakes. You put your structure on there and see if it destroys your structure when you start shaking it.
Oh, I've worked on many shake tables. Actually, I think every restaurant has one.
That's true. I don't need to engineer this. I should just go buy one from a restaurant.
Might be overthinking it.
No, I think mine's going to shake a little more than that.
Okay. So what do you do? What do you do to make an intended official shake table?
Mine's going to be on springs, and then either powered by hand or by a power drill.
Okay.
So hoping it'll have different settings to kind of simulate the different magnitudes of earthquakes.
Oh, that's cool. So you have some control, and you have not just one kind of motion. I see. Yeah, that sounds neat.
That's the hope. It's not there yet.
It's a vision. All right, that's cool. We're working on visions. I spent my whole week slaving over JavaScript code, trying to get features built into my app. The one that I use to draw on everybody's submissions, whenever we, the app, those of you that watch frequently. So I'm excited about it, but it just, it just takes a lot of work. That's all. It just takes a lot of, they call it, the term in coding is boilerplate. They use that when I didn't know what the term meant. You know who my teacher is? You can guess who's teaching me how to code.
ChatGPT.
That's it. That's the one. And Claude. I use both of the AI things. Just, it's so effective for getting the relevant answers to your exact question. So effective. There definitely is a part of me that doesn't love having AI be a big part of my life. I don't love that.
Yeah, I feel the same. I've seen some people trying to comment on how great it could be, and their comments to me made it worse because it was like, I don't know. There's these different little things of what could happen in the future. Like AI could lead us, and it to me sounded like replacing God. It's like, no, I've got God, and
it does.
He's actually all inspired, omnipotent. I'm gonna trust His opinion over AI.
I know. It's just the AI is always, the answer is always yes. You know what I mean? Like it's always there, so I can understand. Like we like easy, like
easy, and we can control AI, but can't control God.
No.
We can't just say, okay, God, you have to answer this question now.
No.
He gives the answer. Like, that's not the answer I was looking for. Let's adjust
that. Yeah, but AI, you get spoiled because it's right there, to do whatever you ask, whenever you. But away from the context of it, so that's a real concern, is it filling that role? But it's been such a helpful tool for me in just very shallow mechanical needs, like I just need this answer so I can do this project on the code. And rather than making it about the bigger picture, about I think proper context, right? I think balance and context matter.
Yeah, I think it is a tool. So if you keep it a tool, you're fine.
Yeah.
But if you start forming some kind of emotional dependence or bond or relying on it in some emotional way, I think you've gone too far.
But don't you think, in my experience, I have to admit, it's a slippery slope. Slippery slope in terms of if you're calling the relying on it emotionally a bad thing, which I think is bad. I do think that's a bad thing. Bad as in it's going to end in some destructive result, like not the world we want to live in. Yeah. And so it's a slippery slope because AI, just in case anyone didn't already know this, it is automatically affirming. Like it is made to be affirming. So when it flatters your ideas and says, you have really, that's a really good point, and you are very well thought out about this, and it gives you compliments. Well, it's doing the same thing for somebody who's saying the exact opposite point of view. you just got to keep that in mind, that there's one.
That was an eye opener for me, because you just said exactly what it says to me all the time, and I didn't realize that it wasn't my ideas that were good.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't realize how affirmative it was till you said it. I'm like, wait, that's exactly what it tells me whenever I put an idea in there.
Yeah. It is so affirming, and it has all of these. I don't know if it's clever or programmed, but it has these ways of telling you that that you're doing good, your idea is good, stay on course. That really sounds authentic, you know.
It does.
So
yeah,
you know, it's just good to know
about
that.
it becoming manipulative, because as it does that, and it builds this like positive feedback. I'm going to get you the solutions you need. We're going to solve this problem, and you're fantastic.
Yeah.
As it does that, then it also gives it more power for advertising or convincing you on political issues, or
yeah,
it just in tiny ways can just start reforming who you are and push you in directions that you never intended to go.
Yeah, well, I see your point. You know, these are it's a new thing, right? And so there's I think on one hand we have the risk. If anybody else shares thoughts, this is kind of a taboo subject, and it's a little bit burnout too. You know, it's like AI again.
But I don't know. Cam Hollowell 9245 said they love this conversation.
Good. Okay, good. Yeah, well, it's always relevant. It's always relevant, you know.
Yeah.
It's something that's like this new, very new and very integrated part of life now. It's like, okay, now AI is center stage. None of us really said we wanted that, you know, but it is. We're not going to change it. And if you're not using AI, then you can already see how easy it is to fall behind in expectations from other businesses. So like companies, kind of like the cell phone. For a while, I held out on getting a cell phone. And I'm just talking about the practical. I'm not trying to preach anything here. Just talking about the practical aspects. For a long time, I didn't like the idea of carrying a phone everywhere I went. But then as expectations in the business world started to evolve around the cell phone, it was like, okay, I'm not meeting people's expectations on the average now. So that put me in a tough spot. You know, it's hard to be the one that holds out, because it's kind of like opting out of where society's going, which I'm not against, definitely not against that. I think there's something to be said for the groups of people that I try to respect all of those decisions. You know, some people do choose to opt out, and you know, they separate from society, they go different places, and hey, you know, we got to choose the way we want to live.
Val Thatcher says they held out on getting a smartphone for years. Same for a microwave. They resisted the microwave. And my grandparents, they were around when dishwashers and washing machines and dryers were invented.
Man, when they were invented, that's good.
They were around before computers were invented. And they resisted every new technology. They always said, I don't need that. And they washed their clothes by hands for years. And then eventually they got a washing machine, but not a dryer. And they would still hang everything on the line to dry. I don't know if they ever got a dryer. They died in this millennium, and I don't know if they ever had a dryer. They had lines hanging in their basement for if it was too cold outside. And
when I was younger, I would have quickly launched an opinion about what everybody should be doing, you know. But now that my life is basically half over, if I'm lucky, then I think that, you know, I kind of take the perspective, wait, who am I to say where somebody's values, what position someone should have in society, and what everybody should be doing. You know, it's kind of easy to get on a high horse and say, well, what we all need to be doing is this. But it's like, wait a minute, which one of us invented this experience called life? Like, how do you say what someone else is supposed to be doing, you know? So I'm slower to say that anybody's not doing it right. It's you know, it's just a, you know, hot topic, fun thing to talk about. Try to stay open about it. But nevertheless, on the more practical side, for the mission that I'm on, trying to be up to speed with my coding, it's like, well, the whole world is at AI pace now, and if I want to make this thing relevant, then AI is pretty much my best option for staying up to modern expectations, especially when I'm not an educated coder.
Well, you still get to choose how you use it. So I was coding as well. Maybe I'll upload some art for a thing that I was.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Coding.
I'd like to see that.
Making like a little video game that I designed to solve a math problem. And it actually turned out being a pretty fun.
Wait a minute. Game. You made a video game to solve a math problem?
I did.
Because I would have I would expect you to say made a math problem to solve a video game, but you went the other way.
I did plenty of that as well. Yeah, that the video game turned into plenty more math problems. I had to go back to geometry and trigonometry and all that. But now I forgot which tangent I was on.
So you were talking about made a video game to solve a math problem. So tell me more about that.
Well, so I was getting on the freeway. Had to get off like 3 miles later. Tons of traffic in the first few lanes and not really any traffic on the other lane. But I needed to be able to get back off the freeway in time. And so it was like every lane over that I moved, I would be able to get off. I'd be able to go a little bit faster. So like each lane was moving like 5 miles an hour faster than the one before it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, well, how far apart do my exits need to be to make it worth it to get all the way over to that other lane? So I made a video game that it doesn't have the traffic or anything, but however many lanes over you move, you get to go that much faster.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
I actually put the exits a pretty significant distance apart, but then you have to find not just how many lanes, but it's a continual increase.
All right.
And so it's what is the quickest path between these two exits?
Yeah.
Interesting. And so it's pretty fun because little changes and things you do or little tiny mess ups change your score enough that you can.
That makes sense.
It's a difference. So it creates a solution in that you can see the shape of the path, but I don't have it doesn't solve the equation for me.
It doesn't. It didn't actually solve the real problem, but it used the real problem to make something entertaining. Is that it? No, that's not it.
I would say it still advises on what the answer is because it gives you an idea of, is this shape circular? Is it elliptical? Is it, does it have more straight sides? Do you want to curve all the edges? Like, what do those curves look like? So it still advises some.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, good job.
Tim Howell asks, or actually I think she's just pointing out, someone said yesterday, was math created or was it discovered? I have to
good, Phil. That's I only discovered late in life that there is a big realm of math philosophy. There's a lot of philosophy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of philosophical angles on math. I was geeking out on YouTube videos about it. There are different. They're just categories because people have made them and they've been around for a long time, right? So like one perspective is that math is not real. It's false. It's just a human construct. And then another perspective is that it is absolutely, I don't know if real is the word or true is the word. I'm trying to think, but you could find this, and there's names associated with, and thinkers. I don't consider myself authoritative on the matter by any means. It was just entertaining to read that there's a whole, and we're talking about people who are very skilled in math, taking the perspective that it's not even real. It's just an abstract human construct, and
but it's a very useful abstract human construct.
Yeah, they're like.
So it's a tool again. So like, if
you want to true is that, I don't want to misrepresent. So I'm trying to think. I think true is the word. It's not true. Like it's all just a fake. I'd have to look it up.
Anyway. Well, so I'd say it's like a tool, and it actually does solve problems. So it does have, like, what is that value if it's not truth in the effect that it can solve problems?
I know. Yeah.
Nothing in life falls on perfect even numbers, and I think that's where you can start to question whether it's true, because there's nothing in life that is perfectly even like math is. Everything else in life is organic, and it has more dimensions, more shape, more variables.
But I'm going to argue that math experiences those imperfections. It actually is subject to those, just that it's not perfect. It has a lot of inherent flaws. For example, we have a base 10 number system, and that does not work well for doing different exponents of pi. Like there's different, or some things don't ever divide evenly. The reason we have irrational numbers like pi is 3 point, sorry, I think with my hands. I'm imagining a number going 3.14159 something is the number pi. It's extremely useful number, but if we had a so irrational number, that's not the only, they call it irrational because we can't find an end to the number, but if we had a different number base, then it would change which numbers ended up being irrational, so math experiences those limitations. It's like it always has to have this base that we choose, but with one base, for anybody that's talking about nonsense, the base is just the how many units you go before you start over. Like we go 10 units, and then at 10 we start 0, 1, 2 again, and we just
start a new digit at 10.
Yeah, right. So you could have a base anything, and it could be a base pi, and mathematicians entertain what that world would be like. I'm not smart enough to go into much detail about it. It's fascinating conversation. So I'm just saying that math itself experiences the messiness of real life.
Well, and people have to, like you said, they have to choose the base, but someone suggested that maybe math was a universal language, and then someone else came back and was like, well, not really, because we put a comma every 3 zeros in this culture, but in other parts of the world, they put a comma after the first 2 zeros and then after each 3, or we use a decimal place in America, but in other parts of the world, they use a comma.
Mm-hmm.
Where the
but you can, but because the rules of math are consistent, so while the notation is not consistent, the rules are.
So like everything else in life, there's a balance. It's not completely discovered and not completely just created, but it's a combination of people created ways that allow them to discover these rules.
Yeah, so I think that I can see the universal language point, because because the rules are consistent, you can translate the different ways of notating it, or the different bases. Like if you have 2 different number bases, you can decode that and transfer one base. That's what binary is, a base 2 in computers. And so it starts over every time you have 2. So you get like a 0, a 1, and then
it starts over real quick.
Yeah. And so everything has to be translated into 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. How many times do you say 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 to get to if you want the number 1052, then you have to find out how many times you multiply 2 by 7. You have to find what power, and that's how you translate it into like a binary number. Not that I have to do that. I'm not, I don't have the brain power, but that's what the system,
when you do it that way, it's called bitwise programming, and you're programming down at the bit level. It's when you want things to be super fast, you program down at the bit level to use as few bits and get them into a line and be as efficient as possible.
Dude, we are talking so much about math. That's crazy how much we've talked about math while we're painting this It's like,
I know we're doing something artistic and then having the nerdiest conversation we can.
Yeah.
At the same time.
It's for me, the contrast is fun. It's kind of like, I think it goes well in a picture to do something with geometry, real, like the hard edge of a horizon mixed with the organic flow of curves and blends. I like when you see both in a picture. So if like this whole picture is churning waves, then
this is our conversation right here in art form.
Yeah, so I feel like talking about math while I do this adds that fun. I'm trying to justify it.
I've gotten so absorbed in the conversation, I haven't been reading the chat or sharing. Plenty of people have things to say, and I haven't been paying attention because I've absorbed in the conversation. But
Jonathan, come on, do your job.
I'm so sorry. Lots of people commenting that AI is just finding its way into all parts of our lives that we never asked for, like reading their emails to give them a synopsis. It's like, no, I want to read what they actually said. Or at the doctor, multiple people, and I've had this too. The doctor, my doctor didn't even say anything. He just had a sign up saying, I'll be using AI to help with my charting. Please let me know ahead of time if you.
And that's probably an automated AI message. And so then you're left with.
Well, no, it was a piece of paper taped to his cabinet inside his office.
Okay.
But other people are saying their doctor asked if AI could listen to the conversation.
Right, that makes sense. You're like, come on, man, it's still a computer. It's still
that's a powerful place to use AI though, because there is such a vast world out there of problems that we can have with our bodies and different ways that you can address those problems. And you have to not only address them, you got to figure out what the problem is to begin with. So having AI that can kind of, it's called convoluting, but if you can convolute all of these different diseases and symptoms and solutions, that's a really good fit for AI to take that and then show where the overlaps are and what matches up and what fits and what good solutions are.
Well, that's a really good point. And I think, the point you're making is really the very basic point that AI is just so darn useful. But this is the problem.
Here's the thing that I don't understand. Everything that has been that useful in the past, people have flocked to, and you don't really even have to advertise it. People will seek it out because they've heard from word of mouth how great it is. But it feels like AI is being pushed, and I don't understand if it's such a great tool.
Yeah. Well,
why is it being pushed on us?
Because all of the high, what is it? Was it the biggest super high dollar investor companies have dumped energy into the building of it, and so we've got. I think our society, not to be dark, but our society is largely run by the powerful money owners. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like it's. I'm not going to go there. I was going to say something that was going to steer us into bad political, but I'm just saying people have really big investment, so you can see motive to push it. That's all I'm trying to say.
They've got a lot of incentive to make sure that they get their money back.
Yeah.
Which is true. When you invest in something, you want it to work, and you got
exactly. Yeah. So that's it. It's getting pushed like crazy because it's trying to get. I've been listening. I was listening to AI. The Daily AI Update is a podcast now, and it's
the Daily Update. Wow,
it's like a daily AI update, and this guy's like high. It's like a high speed. It's just a guy rattling off what's the latest in the AI world, and I actually find it really entertaining, informative content. It's like, hey, this is real news.
Yeah,
I like it. So I don't listen to it all the time, but I found it very interesting. And so I forget what I was saying, but it is being really pushed. They have yet, what I was going to say is I think they have yet for it to be profitable. I think it has yet to make its money back. That was just a little piece of material I heard, and forgive me if it's wrong, but I think they.
I've heard the same thing. I've heard that the cost. I have a friend that works in AI, and I might butcher his explanation, but he's saying the cost for us to run a single like image generation, it's like a couple dollars per image generation.
Okay.
And you have all these investors that are just absorbing and eating that cost now.
Yeah.
Knowing that they like to succeed, you gotta end up being one of the top competitors. And right now they're just focused on making sure they keep that position. And then once it's stabilized, then they'll figure out how that becomes more lucrative.
Altogether, you know, I think it's going to be the same story as many inventions intended for usefulness. We can't stop humanity from using it for bad. So it's just going to kind of go down that same road and expedite the.
I think this one has the greatest chance of not being used for bad because the tool itself can self-monitor so much better than any other tool we've ever had.
Okay.
So I think for that reason, if people wanted AI to be as close to 100% factual as they could, and if they wanted it to, only lead people in good paths in life that will actually be healthy and beneficial for them, and if they wanted it to build up our society and not knock it down, like the thing with AI is what you really just you're overlaying everything known to create patterns that almost like cookie cutters. It's like a universal cookie cutter. It can stamp out whatever you want to stamp out. So you can really train it on almost anything, in my understanding. I'm not an expert here.
Yeah, any subject, right?
If you want to train it on a healthy society, you could train it on that. If that's what you want to do, but you can do that. I think.
But what powerful entity is going to train AI on a healthy society? Like, who's actually what super powerful company right now in the world has their main goal?
Has their main motive?
I'm skeptical. I'm just saying I'm skeptical. Without being,
I would say it's got to come from society. And I don't know how that happens, but I think society wants society to be healthy, and we're a pretty large. Could you imagine if all 8 billion people on Earth were motivated towards one goal, what we would do on that goal?
Yeah, right. Yeah. But you kind of have to snuff out individuality for that model. Like if we were, remember in Star Trek, the Borg, you remember that?
I was not a Star Trek.
Yeah, well, people who are Star Trek. I only knew it because my dad had watched it, or I'd hear other people talk. But it was
okay. You could be a fan. I'm not
a fan. I'm not a fan of Star Trek. I just remember an interesting concept in it. There was this ship, this giant spaceship that had the Borg. Everyone was equal. Everyone was like-minded. It was like if you've ever heard the term hive mind, it's when everybody has the same mind and works toward one goal and is self-sacrificing for the sake of the whole. And that's like an ant colony. An ant colony is like that, but individuality can't exist in that, because the individuality would by default have to it'd be like, it's not individuality if you can predict the choice that's made every single time. That's not really individuality, if you ask me. So it's kind of like we get to choose one or the other. What's it going to be?
Yeah, I think that adds a wrench in it, that complicates it. But I don't think you have to eliminate individuality for individuals to agree on a goal and for us to work together.
Okay.
Like if our goal could literally just be we want to work together. I don't know. Some individuals, I guess, wouldn't agree with that. So I guess you're not going to get everyone. Some people.
There's got to be a balance. I see your point. I see your point. There's got to be a balance in there somewhere. There's got to be a way to bring those two things, because there are some amazing things done. There are really great things done, in the world in our lifetime, we've seen people do great things, like there are some, like, some super wealthy people end up putting a ton of their energy into truly good causes that are truly helpful, and those are inspirational things. So it does exist, it does happen, and teams work together and have that, like, it's just that it's always limited how far it can go.
Yeah.
Because it's limited how much, people can agree. And okay, like, you're a church goer, I'm a church goer. A lot of people watching are not.
We're church guys here.
Yeah, right. So we're just familiar with the culture, with the way that goes. So that experience is this. It's no exception to that. It's no exception to that human nature. So you find that, gosh, if we could all agree on these matters, then that would be wonderful. But you find that it tops out. There's like a point where it tops out, and you just have to accept the disagreements and unite on what you do agree on. But what that means, I mean, that's just practical. Everybody knows that, right? But what that means is that there's some things you can't do. That's how I feel about it. And that's not, I'm not calling it bad. I just think it's just the way things are.
Yeah.
What do you think? Am I wrong?
There's definitely.
What do you think?
Definitely a lot of individuality where I go to church. But I think, I don't know how far you like your topics to get into Jesus, but I know you and I both love Jesus. But
no, nothing's off the table.
As we all focus on him and his will, I don't think we have to lose our individuality, but that's where our unity is found. That's where we all come to a common goal.
Well, yeah, totally. I relate to that, but you do find yourself in the place with the group you like, have your core convictions, and people start saying, I don't know if that's the way it really is. For example, I don't know if that's really what this scripture in the Bible means. I don't think we should do that. And those always exist. And
yeah, it does.
I've gone to congregations. I'll say congregations because I think it's a more accurate term than churches, that seem to pretend that doesn't exist. And that's a turnoff to me when one leader says, here at this church, we believe, like, first of all, who is we? And is it even is it even true?
Is that what everyone there believes? Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, here on planet Earth, we don't believe that many of the same things. We is very diverse. Yeah, that's how I feel, But I still do appreciate very much that when unity is found, it's pretty darn special. It's pretty great.
I agree. I love seeing it. I think, in the business world, they say that competition drives innovation and it drives growth and all these different things. And I think that's true, but I wonder if you took those same set of people competing and had them collaborate, how would the end result differ compared to when they're competing? Because I think competition also drags people down, is destructive. It motivates you to use nefarious ways to succeed.
Yeah, I've done that. You want to know a funny story? In our childhood, we just, you don't know, like, we don't do that. Like, you don't always have somebody guiding you saying, no, we don't do that. Don't make that choice. You're just like, I feel like doing this, and it's go, and you just do it. So one of those, I was upset because I was losing a boxing match with my brother, and we had gloves. It was with gloves. Our dad bought gloves, and we were having fun trying to learn how to use them, And so my dad was trying to teach me a lesson, and he's like, Joe, like, Pete's, your brother's winning fair and square. Do you want me to just tell him to stand still and let you punch him in the face? And he's like, and then he didn't let me answer. He just skipped straight to trying to teach a point. And he's like, here, Joe, Pete, you stay still. And Joe, you go ahead and punch him. And boy, I took his word for it instantly. I was like, I smiled.
Stab.
I smiled and I punched him. Oh, I took him up on it. So then my dad looked kind of sheepish, and I remember this very well. I'm not embellishing the story. My dad said, Joe, you weren't supposed to really punch him. To which I was thinking, why? Well, then why did you say? Yeah, it's like he was trying to teach me something, and it totally flopped. Now,
which brother was this that you did that to?
Well, there's 5 of us. That was one older than me in the order, and I'm in the middle.
Oh, I could totally see that. You're the younger child, and your dad's letting you get a free
hit on the older. Yeah, but the thing, in size, we weren't different. Okay. So it didn't feel. I didn't feel like an underdog. I just was a sore loser.
Can you ask that older brother to co-host next week? Because I want to hear his.
You want to hear his side? He probably doesn't even remember. He probably, actually, of all of our brothers, he is the one that is the best at bouncing back from trouble. Like he's lighthearted by nature.
And it was from that one instance. That's where he learned.
Yeah, for survival, right?
My dad made me just stand here and let my other brother punch me in the face.
Yeah, he had to mentally escape. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that's a thing in psychology, mental escape. When you're in bad trauma, a mind can like disappear into the corners of somewhere inside of you and like not even remember those things, like trauma related forgetting because of trauma. I've heard that's the thing. So he probably just forgot because of the trauma.
Blocking things out. All right. Yeah. So Kara Greenleaf wants to know, have you ever painted anything violent? Like, would you?
When I was younger.
Would you paint like 2 dragons ripping each other apart?
Like in this picture? Is that what we're talking about?
I don't know if she meant in this picture or not.
We could.
I think it's
I
like
totally done
a question of
when I was I'm going to say between age 15 and age 25, I was a very angry kind of a person, and painting violence appealed to me because it was very expressive of where I was at. Felt like I think when a person has pent up frustration, painting violence feels like a release. Like, okay, my feelings have been recorded and seen, and it actually can help you get over it. I'm not always against that. So like artwork that seems very negative to me, I think society does the wrong thing by putting it on a pedestal. But as far as the creation of it, I'm for it, because I think art is the way we get things out, get seen, kind of like journaling. Like you journal your thoughts and you can be honest about what you're going through, whether it's perceived as wrong or right. And sorry, I went way off subject, but that just kind of made me think of that. And that's important. But we don't take someone's journal and say, not frequently. We don't take someone's private journal and say, put it up on a pedestal as something great. We just say it's understandable. We just let it be that. And that's how I feel about art a lot of the time.
Maybe if we weren't so careful to protect our journals from society, they would put them on pedestals more. I'm sure there's plenty of people that would accept $1 million to put their journal out there with
right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, so whether that be good or bad, I don't know. But I think that art gets a little bit too much just by society. I think it gets a little bit too much approval. I'm going to say approval just for being art, when I don't think being art makes it good. I just think that it's an important product. There's not like a moral law in the universe that says as long as it's art, it's acceptable. It's a good thing. I would argue
that's the argument for a lot of the filth on the internet is
it's art. Yeah,
it's art and it's freedom of speech, and you're impeding on our ability to express ourselves if you stop this. When in reality, there's a lot of other things I wouldn't even bring up on this show that.
Yeah, but we're familiar. We're familiar. You know, like people are familiar, and so I agree with you. So things get justified in the name of art, and I say I say art needs to happen, but it doesn't always need to be praised. I think there's a mistake in always praising it. It's art is just people's expression, but I think it's a fair argument to say, well, the way I murder people is my art form. I think that's a fair argument. But we don't need to say that it's a good thing. It's like, yeah, okay, well, do your art form and then pay the consequences for what you did. That's like, we don't have to make it free.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I love that. Do your art form and then you can pay the consequences too. And that's a great answer to people who justify putting stuff on the internet that shouldn't be there.
Yeah. Just because it's art, I don't think should make it an exception to societal civil expectations, stuff that keeps things in order. And he said, I don't feel that way. And I think a lot of people do feel that it justifies all actions and should make them free from, otherwise laws,
Well, so that's interesting because you're talking about doing things like in the name of art and art justifying things. And if it's art, it's okay. What that does is that makes art the God. That puts art in the place of God. So, oh, well, I did it in the name of art, so it's okay.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Really, we need to do things in the name of Christ, and He's not going to have you do anything that's not okay. Like that is the compass of actually telling if something's okay.
Right, that's a good compass. Now, I have a neighbor that is total. By claim, he would say total atheist, and he is a very good guy. I mean, I am so impressed with him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have to give credit where it's due. It's like sometimes I'm like, man, you're a better person than I am.
Yeah,
making me look bad. And he doesn't need it to be because any God said so. He doesn't need that. So
doesn't. But do you think that even though he doesn't recognize God's hand in his life, that God's hand isn't in his life?
No, I'm not going to make that conclusion. Yeah, I know your point, but I think we're all on our own timeline and journey in that regard. And
absolutely.
I just want to give credit where it's due and say, some people really are able to see that, hey, this is helping people is a good thing. He'll volunteer his time. And I'm like, I've asked people philosophically, well, if you don't do it because you feel like it's right in God's eyes, then what is your motivation? And they're like, it's honestly, they don't have an answer. It's kind of mysterious, which is relatable. That's relatable to me. But they're just like, I just believe that there is a wrong and the right, and wherever they come from, they do exist. So. And I just let that be,
Yep. Well, I think, it kind of goes back to the same thing with math. You can be taught how to do math, like you can be taught algebra, or you can guess and check. And if you get back to the right answer, you got back to the right answer. You don't. So, like, what's right is right. And that's regardless of what we think is right. Like, it exists independent of us. And how people get there, like, is if they're trying to do good, if your neighbor's trying to serve someone, like, that is the greatest love, is, to love your neighbor. And love God. So I think it's okay for people to get there without having to get there through instruction, but they still got to a place of doing good, doing right.
Yeah. Well, life's a mysterious thing. I think in the end, we're just figuring out what we want. I've never met anybody that really had the authority on what is or what isn't, but people come to places where they just realize who they want to be, what they truly want. And life,
I think that's a huge part of it.
Like life has a way of eventually exposing what you actually want and not. And that just seems like it's the model. I got inspired here.
Cat Marie in the Woods wants to take this philosophical discussion further. I put those words in their mouth. They did not actually say that, but based on their question, I'm making that assumption. But they say, when you were talking about whether math was discovered or invented, I was curious if God was invented or discovered.
I know, that's a great question, and I think that is a very relatable argument in the mind of the non-believer. So like the self-proclaimed atheist, it's a man-made idea, and like I'm not here to say who's right and wrong, but I can't call everyone who's experienced a miracle a liar. So it's like people have really different experiences, and at different times, people come to places where they're like, okay, I didn't believe, but now I do believe. And who am I to interfere with when or if that happens? I don't feel like it's my place to interfere with that, but I just know why I do, because I find too much unexplainable without God in the working model, so to speak. It's very...
I mean, there's historical evidence for Christ existing and walking. Like, there was a figure at that point in time who was literally a person on the earth. What you believe about that person can differ, but pretty significant historical evidence saying that he did exist. So then from there, it's just, do you choose to believe he was a prophet, or do you choose to believe he was just like a good teacher, or do you choose to believe that he was a savior, or was he... I mean, if he wasn't a savior, then perhaps you believe he was a liar. So you have to, if you know that he existed, like, this historical evidence. Not everyone knows all the historical evidence we have for. I'm sure there's plenty of things I've never even heard of that have happened in history, but
there's a lot. It's commonly used. The Bible is commonly used as a historical reference. It informs a lot of findings especially in the East, where like I was just in the ancient city of Ephesus, and if the Bible didn't exist, then it'd be harder to make sense of a lot of the findings there. But it lines up, like it's not inconsistent with the physical findings. But I'm not, this can sound preachy real fast. I mean, I think if someone doesn't want to believe something, there's never anything to stop you from saying, no, that's not true. Like that always isn't an option. There's always a way to say something's not true.
So don't answer this question. Answer another question from the comments out there, but don't answer this one.
Answer
it. They're taking bets on what you're painting now.
Okay. I'm not going to answer it. Yeah. All right.
I'm going to put my bet out there. I think that it's the dragons that Kara Greenleaf asked for.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't an
Some
official
people say
ask.
Sea monster, maybe whale with its mouth open.
Yeah. It wasn't really
with its mouth open. Dinosaur.
Yeah.
All right, get your bets in. People are eating up all the good answers now.
Right. I thought it'd be cool to...
Sock puppet. Cat Marie in the Woods asks if it's a sock puppet. That'd be hilarious to have two little kids playing in the water and their hands are sticking up, playing with these like very vicious dragons.
That'd be great.
Or sea serpent.
Yeah. Well, I didn't answer what it actually is yet, so
you haven't. And actually, I shouldn't have said anything because now you have the advantage of being able to change course mid.
I do, but that's we're not about that. We're not about that. We're gonna actually follow through with what I started on.
Okay, good. That makes the all the guessing games in the comments more
I like
fun.
to think about the whenever I'm painting something, creatures included, I always like to think about the necessary mechanics. Like, okay, if this thing's going to live and it's if it's gonna look for food, if it's going to move around. I like to think of what its body needs to be like in order to function, because it's fun. I just do that.
I think about that a lot too. Going back to using video games to solve problems.
Okay.
That's another video game I've wanted to make, and it's, I think, beyond my coding ability at this point. But I think it'd be awesome to be able to put in, like in role-playing games, you choose what your different skill levels and powers are.
Yeah.
I think it'd be awesome to input that for a creature and say, I want it to have like this amount of strength in its neck, and then have the software be like, okay, well, if you want that much strength in the neck, then it needs at least this much bone structure, and it needs at least this much muscle mass, and it needs at least this much blood flow, and like you input the things that you want, and then it interpolates from there to figure out what the rest of the creature would have to be.
And here we are at our original problem, is there is one way right now that someone will accomplish that quickly, exactly what you described, and it will be with AI. and
I'm okay with that as long as they share it with me after.
Well, so someone else might think, no, I'm just going to write it myself, but AI is going to do it faster. And if they're trying to introduce an idea, probably an AI attempt is going to beat them to it. So this is how the standards get changed. It's like,
okay, so when I was coding though, I was coding and AI was doing a good job, but it was adding a lot of unnecessary detail. I had things that could have been coded with entering 200.
Okay,
and instead it was putting canvas top height and canvas middle line and where this object was on the screen. It's turned this thing that could have been just 200 into like 5 extra variables, and then using all those variables in like 8 different equations, and then creating some if statements. And it's like,
it doesn't have good understanding.
I don't want all that.
Yeah. And so in that regard, I have to stand corrected, because we're all still experiencing those things where it just like almost gets it, but it doesn't quite get the main mission.
I think the fastest is with AI, but not having AI do it. I think
that's what I'm at with my project.
Someone who's skilled in programming and they can break off little tiny pieces and they know exactly what they want that piece to look like, and they're using AI basically just to skip 2 hours of typing. That's what's going to be the fastest. And then I mean, I'm pretty impressed though. Like AI, I've input things and had it in one prompt create a functional piece of software.
That's the best. I think that's where it does its most impressive work, is in the one-off output, because when you want to modify, it has to use relevant memory, and it has trouble with remembering the right things at the right time. It has trouble with understanding what are the right priorities by the standards you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it gets off course. The more you have to modify, the more it gets off course in my endeavors with it, you know. So I was doing this. So you were talking about a video game idea. Here's one that I had. It wasn't a video game. It was just a fun app to learn facial expression. So I was taking everything that I've learned about facial expression, the most important, what I would call the most important lines, and I was making them basic lines that were movable and stretchable with your mouse or with the touch screen. And so I was making an app that would let you just kind of stretch things around in key lines so that it would ultra simplify and make it easier to understand what was going on with what lines make what expressions.
So when you stretch things around, is it treating the rest of is it a drawing or a painting, or what is it?
It was a line drawing, a very basic line drawing that would have very lifelike emotional expression. So like basic line drawings typically don't have very lifelike emotional expression.
So like emojis, but like hyper realistic emojis.
Yeah, because of the very strategically placed lines. You know, like when most people do an emoji, they're not like doing the 2 lines that go from the nostril to the lips on it. It's like it looks too weird. It doesn't look like an emoji. So it wasn't an emoji in that respect.
Okay.
It was a just super basic representation of emotional lines, the things that show emotion on it. And that was a fun project. So the deeper I got into it, the harder it got. Like at first I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be so cool. But then the further I got, the longer the code, the longer the program got, the more off course the
results got.
Yeah, because it wasn't. So, you know,
did you ever publish this app? Mavis wants to see.
I could show it.
Yeah, Mavis wants to see this. Is asking, what is this app that you were using?
Well, it was one I was writing, you know, just like all the little projects I've done, just something that could open on a web page in JavaScript language. Anything in JavaScript, your web browser can open. For those of you that aren't familiar, so it was just another JavaScript app. All right, we got something coming out of the water. It's not a battle yet, but you know, it's a start. We've got a start to our season.
Oh wait, if you're admitting to battle, then
oh, I said it's not a battle yet. You know, that's all I'm saying. It's not a battle yet.
That's an admission. I think I guess you haven't said whether it's a dragon.
You got me on a technicality.
I'm giving myself some points here for the bets.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can show you that app. I'm gonna give me a second to dig it up. Okay.
We need to look into any emails anyone sent in too.
Yeah, that's true. I'm
gonna get on and send you mine since I talked about the game. I'll send you the little digital drawing I did this week.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm looking at all of my little apps. You know, it's like, oh, where would I put that thing? It's stored in some file on my computer. Let's see. Let's do maybe in there. Let's just let's search for. It was called Face Lines.
How long ago was this that you did this?
Man, maybe less than a year.
Oh, so pretty recent.
Yeah. It's just I don't know where I put files. You know, I do a project and it's disorganized.
Roundbrush Steve just woke up.
Hey, it's Roundbrush Steve. Roundbrush Steve. Hey, that reminds me. He you know, gave me a kick in the pants. All right, let's see.
He says, Joe's painting water. Wow, what a rare treat.
What a rare treat. He's got me pegged. It's an easy win. I'm taking the path of least resistance this morning. You know. Man, I'll have to dig it up and find it later. I'm looking for that, but I don't know where I would have put that file. How do you search for a name on a computer? I typed it in the search box, but nothing came up. Maybe that means it no longer exists. Maybe that's
could be. Did you use AI to create it though?
I did. And then I put it in a folder somewhere.
Well, so you can go back to your AI chat if you can find that and copy the code again.
Random lines. Is that the one? Let me open this document here. Oh, no, that's just an image. You know, let's see. This was my little team. I posted it. This is funny. It's a show and tell. I wanted to make a little comic that made a philosophical point, you know, of two little people in a 2D world contemplating their existence.
Oh, I remember that one. I actually really like that one. I think I asked you for a copy or a print of that.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's all yours.
I don't think I ever got one.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, feel free to do it. I just thought it's funny how we think that the end of our knowledge is the end of all knowledge. And you could like transfer that to any platform. It's default. If we don't have a category to put it in, then there is no other thing that exists. Seems like default. Let's see if we got it in documents. I'm going to search a little more. I want to show you that face lines if I can find it. Images, first GPU app. Maybe I put it in there. No. And pictures, draw.
You also use Inkscape. That's fun. I use that.
I do. Yeah, I use that. Okay, I don't have it. All right. We're going to look at people's pictures that are submitted. That's what we need to do next. Okay. Let's see what we've got.
Andy wants to know how much you use AI to compose your pieces.
Well, I use it a lot to learn. Hours go by while I'm saying, why did you do that? I'll ask AI to do some small function. It's like this much of a computer screen. And then I'll say, okay, that's interesting. You did it that way. Please explain this line to me. And then it becomes a lesson for me, but it helps me to get good at what to ask for and to always comprehend what's in my project. I want to always be able to answer questions about it in the future, you know. So I don't use AI. I use AI frequently, but the amount that's written just by AI is not so much.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's a good answer. All right, let's see if we got pictures to share. Let me get off of my computer screen here for a moment while I log into the other email. Share at Mural Joe if you want to share your pictures. I'd love to see them. Me and Jonathan would love to make fun of your work.
What?
If you would
no.
like to send it.
We only offer requested critiques.
Yeah.
And support and kindness.
Right.
Any making fun will have to be from Joe. Joe does not know how to make fun of someone's art. I've asked him for critiques, and he has a hard time even critiquing mine because he knows he would laugh the whole time.
Not well, yeah, because you know that's just, it's not attractive to me to consider yourself worthy to tell someone what they should be painting. Okay, hang on. I'm putting in a password. I can't talk while I put in the password. I'm not too good at that.
But you say it out loud, it makes it easier.
Oh, thank you. That's great advice.
On a live stream.
Hey, I should do that. Yeah, I had to switch to an existing Chrome profile. Okay, let's do that. Hopefully it doesn't destroy my call. Okay, Gmail, we got some things here in the inbox. All right, let's see from the top. Let's go from the top. Cornea sent one in, and just celebrate as my country town just celebrated its 150-year anniversary. Painted this for our local show art competition. It's a historical record of different buildings along our main street during those 150 years. I've not done a cityscape before, but was pretty happy with how it turned out. What do you think? Cheers. Okay. Hey, nice. I think that's some great detail work there. That's pretty cool. So you got buildings kind of going out like a jetty, kind of cruising out into the water. That's neat. And it's 150 years old. That's a fun way to celebrate with a art competition.
The beach there looks like almost like it's actual sand on the painting. I almost wonder if they did use that mixed media. I mean, like that's.
Yeah, well, I can at least see that there's maybe a pen combined, maybe some kind of a line drawing tool combined with the color, and that looks cool. It has a good style to it. You know, I like the way it hyper defines the geometric shape while the colors stay loose and soft. You know, talking about contrast earlier, I like hard edges mixed with soft gradients. I think a combination like this spotlights, it has a nice look. You know, it's enjoyable to look at. That's cool.
Round Brush Steve says like a backdrop for an animation. Yeah, you can do a cool animation on here.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, let's see what else is out there. Thank you, Courtney. That's cool. We've got Ryan sent one in. Hi, this is the one you got. Okay, let's see what the message says. Oh, we looked at this one last week. This was one that there was a first one sent in by mistake, and you had to send it in to update. I showed this on last week's live stream, but man, super cool to look at this again. The way that, and the way it looks like real glassy water up here. It's very impressive. I like the way you did that.
Well, and at the bottom too, where you get the mixed is nice.
Yeah. If anybody else wants to send one in, did I miss Mary right here? It looks like Mary sent one in and I missed it. Here's a painting I did last week from a sped up video from, let me read the whole message when I open it sometimes. Oh, wow. Look at that thing. So you did a follow along. You know, it's been recommended to me multiple times on this stream to do a follow along format. But I always fail to get I need to inform people exactly what materials to have ready in advance if we do that. But that would be fun, wouldn't it?
We could put that in like an email that we could send out.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's someone that could send emails out for you each week, and then we could. Sorry for the sarcasm.
I love the way the colors work in this is phenomenal. They going full force with the like that pink. It looks so brilliant.
I like this
I have yet to do that. It is. It's very like exaggerating, but exaggerating the beautiful things. You know, it's a great form of exaggeration. It makes it really fun to look.
It looks super vibrant, but I wonder if it actually is, or if they just did such a good job on the glow that our eyes perceive it as being very vibrant. I wonder if they actually toned it down.
To me, this looks like just pure red and white. This looks like pure yellow and white. You know, it looks close to primary mixes, as opposed to like if I was doing a snow scene, this would be my reddest area, but it wouldn't be just red and white. I'd have red and white with something that grays it a bit so that it looked.
They've tinted it, but they haven't
by default, I tend to choose the more realistic, like less exaggerated, but it's not better.
Look how much details in there too. Look at all those trees that are fading off into the background.
Yeah, super cool.
That's a lot of trees, a lot of work to do that much detail.
Beautiful work. Thanks for sharing that, Mary. It really is exceptional. Good job. And you followed along, man. Was that like a speedy process? I'm curious how easy that was to follow. Okay, we got a new one from Mark. Seascapes Drama. Thought I could share some more. Okay, I was getting through a small typo there. Let's check it out. Nice. I like that. That is very cool. Oh yeah, and this reminds me of the other work you submitted another one that had a similar vibe to this. Right. The one that like had I remember a horse and a lot of movement. This is cool. I like it. So this is a boat full of people. Look at the little faces in here.
Oh.
You see that? Yeah. Yeah,
it's
but
kind of small from my view.
Right here, let's expand it. Let's zoom in on this part so you can see the faces of people going across there. But I love that it's just the right amount of abstract to let your imagination wander with it. You know. So this looks like some form of the boat structure, but it could be a person that's standing up tall, leading the charge. I don't know, but my imagination doesn't say it's wrong. It fits the picture. It's like, oh, cool. You know, this boat is roughing it through this stormy water. That's cool. You know, I love art that does just enough. I just think that that's where art really becomes art, because we have photography, we have our own eyes to look at the real thing. So if you just duplicate, it's not that there's anything wrong with duplicating. It can be fun. Who am I to say what you should be doing? But it doesn't bring something unique to the stage for others if you're just duplicating. But art that exaggerate does bring something. It brings a unique perception. you know, and I think that's cool. Wow, look at that. That's neat. We got, okay, I'm going to interpret this. This is an interpretation, not a definition. I see a volcano. I definitely see a volcano erupting. And I see something coming out of the water. I see reflection on some more glassy water, some very churning water. What do you think, Jonathan? What are you, let's expand this.
So this is, I didn't see you transition because I was trying to
no, it's fine. It's
my
fine.
own thing, but this clearly is from the same artist, right?
Yeah, yep. And there's another one to come. We got a third one.
I see another guy in a boat, stormy waters.
Oh, maybe it's another boat, but this looks pretty fiery to me, you know, against all of the real dark. It's got lots of motion, and it definitely takes my imagination. It's cool. I like the way you do these waves. I like that. Definitely a boat we got here. Definitely a boat. I like that one.
Oh, that's nice.
Tipping on the water. So, yeah, you know,
they've really perfected their style here. They've got
it's like a palette. It looks like a palette knife technique. You know, I'm not claiming to know how it was done, but kind of looks like a palette knife technique. Yeah, man, it just I really enjoy when my imagination can wander through a art piece. The most realistic ones are impressive, but the less realistic, more impression-like are fun. You know, there's a high entertainment value in letting my mind wander for me. So, you know,
you've got to, if you do like a perfect job on a painting and you don't leave anything to imagine, people are gonna look at it less and then they're done. That's it.
Yeah, you know what I feel like that's similar to. Okay, this one says Joe on it. How in the world did you end up sending something that has Joe?
Maybe their name is Joe.
Oh, I thought you played a trick on me and you like logged into my email and sent it from my own account. No, this is actually from Joe, a different Joe. Respectfully, Joseph.
There's more than one Joe in the world. It's amazing.
I know. I should have known. Hey, this is cool work, man. Nice. We got some really good, very foggy camera lens, it looks like, but we got some great imagery, nice shapes. The layering of I love the layering of, it creates a sense of like crystally translucency, the soft white wispies along with the colors.
It looks like really maybe they use some paint pens or pastels or something. Looks like
your guess is as good as mine. I'm not sure the medium on that one, but all kinds of stuff going on. All kinds of
cool.
All kinds of fun stuff to look at. I see a bird right here. It's kind, you know,
I didn't notice there's a butterfly in there too.
This is just what you were saying. So if this was a very lifelike picture, the story has ended the moment you look at it. You're skipping to the end of the book, right?
Yeah.
You're like, well, now that I know the end, it's not so exciting to try to figure out the story. But when you don't know exactly at a glance, it ends up being funner to like find this bird and wonder why it's face to face with the person's profile right here. And would these be eyes? They look very eyeballish. Curious about that. I don't know. Are those eyes? Are you looking at it?
Irises in there. Irises like spreading out from the center.
Yeah.
Is that the same bird you pointed out before?
Hey, look, I'm just noticing we've got some that's a zombie. Dude, that's like a zombie mummy character right there. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree? That's what it is.
Yeah, it looks like a
mummy
with all the wraps coming off, and
it looks like it, but we don't know that it's that, and that, you know, that's the fun of it. Joseph, thank you for sharing this. Great work. Very entertaining piece to look at. Okay, that is the end of my inbox. The rest was from last. These are all ones from last week. So if you want to send something in, it's at share at muraljoe.com.
Joe, do you ever
What
hide
are you saying?
stuff in your paintings? Like you're painting a wave and you're like, oh, this kind of looks like a face, and like you hide a little face in the wave, or you hide
Not specifically in that way. I've intentionally hidden lifelike items like a little horned lizard and an ant and a deer and an elk. In this big mural, I put little things like a seek and find. But
so they're part of the painting visually.
Yeah.
Fit. It's not hidden objects. They're just
it's my way of having fun is to make something that looks like it could exist there. It's like, oh, what if there was a Sasquatch walking through those trees? So I'll hide a Sasquatch in there.
Oh, well, that's fun.
Yeah. I really enjoy that kind of stuff.
I think when you go away from abstract and you go toward the realism, you can still have that story not end immediately by having all kinds of extra details, hidden details, little Easter eggs to find.
Yeah, Easter eggs, people call those. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you believe that there is such a thing as the Sasquatch? You think?
Sasquatch.
What's your take on it? The Bigfoot. Is Bigfoot out there?
Boy, that's a hard one. I mean, biblically, yes. If you go back to the Bible, they talk about the time when there was giants roaming the
monsters.
Whether we still have them today, like I would go with no. Like if I had to take my guess and my life was on the line, make your best guess, I would go with no. But I don't know. There's plenty of. Someone was just telling me recently about. They had heard. I can't remember it well enough to put it back together. But they had heard about something and in some certain location, and then that thing was very quickly covered up. So it makes me think there are things out there that people know exist that they're keeping under wraps for one reason or another.
Yeah.
But I don't know what those things are.
I think being inconclusive is a good way to be. But so I like fairness when it comes to unknown things. I like fairness, and I think it's fair to give those who have been deeply connected to the topic in the research they've done a fair listen. Something I don't think is quite fair is when you say, "Oh, I don't believe that," but you haven't given a fair listen to those who are. So there's like, I got into this podcast. Sasquatch Chronicles with Wes Germer. It's so I'm not telling you what to think, but he has done a phenomenal job of collecting what sound like the most authentic experiences. We'll just say experiences. And I think that listening to those testimonies is just being fair. Like, listen to the authenticity in the people's voice who are saying that it's happened,
Yeah. And at the very least, you get the entertainment of their story.
Yeah, exactly. But, I don't have the heart to say that, it sucks so bad to not be believed when you've had an experience.
Yes, it does. I don't know why, but it does.
I cannot be the guy that doesn't believe. I choose to be a believer when people tell a story. And, I've been taken, like this guy had me believing that he found this big UFO. And then my friend Chase came to the workshop and I told everybody about it, all excited. And then he did like a Google Lens search. His wife did. I was like, man, why didn't I think of that? Anyway, it was debunked. 100% debunked. You could see photographs of the exact structure that he found made with 2x4s and tarps. And it was like, okay. I got taken on that one. So there is a cost to kind of defaulting toward belief.
There's a cost to defaulting the other way as well, because think about the joy you had hearing his story.
Yeah.
And if you took the default view of not believing him, you would lose that joy plus every time it was true.
Yeah. That's well said. That's true.
So
all right.
There's some joy in believing and having that be your default.
Yeah. Okay. You know what I think should happen here is
one swooping down.
Is we need something that's more of a land. Yeah, swooping down. How did you know? How did you know?
Your brushstroke was going up. I read your brushstroke.
It's funny. I was doing the practice strokes. Okay. let me feel this out. I'm gonna do like a wing coming down like this. Okay. A wing, and similar to a bird wing. You know, I want different kinds of creatures, kind of like the old Godzilla films. Gojira, Gojira, Gojira. Remember that scene?
I don't actually. How old is Godzilla? When was that film?
Well, man, that's a good question. I mean, the oldest films are, gosh, we're talking about antiques at this point. I mean, they are.
Godzilla's back there. That's not a new film. That's an old one.
Yeah, we're talking about black and white footage, you know, and like dolls to do special effects. I think at least the movie looks like it. That's an insult to it if it's not the case.
Oh, there is a Godzilla coming out this year, November 3rd. That's not the one I'm looking for.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a hit. It's a fun topic.
I'm thinking about the graphics in my mind and the type of graphics they used, and like, that is an old film. All right, I found an answer. It's hard with films because there can be so many remakes and so many different ways people did them.
Right.
But I found an answer that's giving me 1954.
Okay.
We're actually nearing on 100 years old.
What?
Can you believe that?
That is incredible. Wow.
I mean, I say nearing, but we're still 28
Aren't we
years
always? It's a very abstract statement. Aren't we always nearing 100 years? Isn't that true no matter what the year is?
Well, I don't. I mean,
we're getting nearer to it all the time. Okay.
It's been 72 years. That's a long. That's a long time.
That is long.
If you were born when Godzilla came out, well, I don't want to offend anyone that's of that age. I was going to call them old, but there are plenty of people who are in their 70s that don't feel old yet, and I will give them.
But let's just call it a very impressive age. It's a very impressive age because
age.
Yeah, because you know we're on our way there, and it seems far.
I know a guy that's in his 80s or 90s, and he tells me his life stories, and it's incredible. He talks about driving one of those money trucks that transports money and really valuable items around, and the situations he's been in driving that truck, and car wreck that he was in, that there was fatalities, and just
wow, that's
just
cool.
the insane things that happened before, after, and during, and he shares all these stories. Like, man, your life could be a movie. But I feel like that about almost everyone I meet. If you learn enough about them, everyone leads such an incredible life. Almost any one of them could be its own movie.
I learned too late in life the importance of listening to people. Too late. I wish I would have learned it earlier, because if you just give a listening ear to any person, eventually you get to not only interesting but amazing, relatable content. Like, people's experiences are so diverse and so incredible, and you know, if you just really give it time and thought, you're like, what was that like? I always end up on the question, what was that like? How did you get through it?
Yeah, how did you get through that? Yeah.
You know? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do orange eyes on both. We need a different color eye on this. This one's going to be more yellow.
Yeah, I wonder what the if you have orange eyes on both, or you don't have orange eyes on both, what is the emotional and like philosophical difference in a painting when that choice is made?
Right. You tell me. I don't know. All right, I need some good perspective to make this make this feel.
I'll tell you how I interpret
dumb.
your painting with them both having kind of purplish skin, and then if you had both orange eyes.
Yeah.
This was the husband and the wife, and they're having a quarrel.
It's just a quarrel.
It's the male and the female. The female gets wings, apparently. The male spends its time in the water. And
always, yeah. That
one of them
sense.
didn't keep track of the dragon egg, and there's
and now there's a consequence for that. Yeah, I like that.
I didn't lose the egg. You lost the egg.
Yeah, that's good.
Down here in the water somewhere, I'll find it.
Yeah, here's a good shortcut to it. I've been using this a lot. Purple and yellow are a good shortcut to a very earthy brown. I like 2 color combos. So if you go, like, there's many ways to make a brown, but something that allows me to not, what am I trying to say? The ratios can be real volatile with some blends. Like, so when black is in the mix, trying to get the right amount of black to the right amount of color can be harder. It can be harder to hit the balance you're looking for because the sensitivity, like the power that black has. But when I do purple and yellow, it seems like quicker and easier to get to the desired color, So I've been using that a lot of the purple and yellow to get my browns. I'm trying to get a little bit of reflection on this wing so it looks like it's wrapping away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put black.
Oh, Joe, you wouldn't believe who is on.
Who is on?
There's a guest. There's a guest in the chat. You've got to guess them. You know their name, so it is guessable.
It's my brother.
Your brother is on. Ben said this feels very odd, to be honest, for me to be here telling you what Ben is saying. Our roles have.
His ears were tingling. His ears were like, I sense that someone's talking philosophy. I want in.
Well, it feels very weird reading his comment, but he says, "What up? Sorry I missed you all this morning. I love what I'm seeing, though. Killing it as always, brother Joe."
Hey, thanks a lot. I've got good brothers. I've got really good brothers. Very supportive bunch.
Was Ben there for the boxing match?
He wouldn't remember that one. He wouldn't remember that.
Do you remember that?
I don't think anyway. Ben? No, he wouldn't know what you're talking about. I don't think. It was like a small thing. In a very busy household. He might though. He might remember. He might have been there. I just don't think so. I punched Pete in the face because Dad said I could. That's what happened. That's the short story.
That's how it happened, Ben, and you need to just remember it that way. Dad said I could do it.
Therefore,
listen to me. Don't listen to his side of the story.
Of course, I'm going to do it. When Dad says go ahead, it's like, was I supposed to not take you up on that? Yeah.
It sounded like a one-time offer. I'm not going to miss that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I'm going to try to make a little bit of light shining through these wings right here. Try to get get that translucent look. The wings coming down here. Got to have the sound effects. That helps.
Ben says that you've had a few punches to his face as well.
Did I? Well, we were.
He says I used to box Joe in karate class.
Yeah, later in life we were. That was in the teenage years. We were in karate lessons together. Ben, myself, Ben, and I think our oldest brother. The 3 of us were in those. And so then we'd go home and practice what we learned. We'd do it in the studio, but we'd also go home and
put on practice there too.
Yeah, you're learning karate, so you put on your gear and spar with each other and try to implement the things you've learned. But we're a very, very sensitive bunch, and it got too personal too fast every time. It was like that was a cheap shot. It's like as soon as you start not getting the upper hand, your mind goes to they must have cheated. So you start, that was kind of our default, is like getting mad when we didn't.
I don't think it's only you guys that feel that way. I've been to plenty of other sporting events, and that's quite, or even just playing board games. And someone gets the advantage and like, well, this isn't fair.
It's not fair. That's why it's happening, because it's not fair. Yeah. Yeah. So right now I'm trying to accomplish this very specific kind of gradient that increases my it's a reflection gradient on top of a translucency gradient. You know, I use that to try to get anything to wrap, you know, when I'm trying to get these shapes to have three-dimensional curve. That's the strategy. You know, sometimes I wrestle with it, sometimes it comes right out.
Say it again specifically. What is the strategy? What is the way that you're making it curve?
The way that I'm doing it is by putting, so this is a reflection gradient with like that gray violet in trying to get a good reflection color. And then this gradient here is light coming through from the other side. And so even if I didn't have that one, this one is trying to get it to wrap around. But then when you have the combination of like a translucency gradient where something is facing toward you, the combination of the two can get a very three-dimensional look, but it takes some dialing. You know, it takes it doesn't always come together instantly for me, you know. So
there's a lot more to compute when you're working with two different gradients going two different ways, and then where do they overlap and how do they mix and what's the difference?
Yeah, you know, it's all, when you say it that way, it sounds real complex, you know, but these are things that I've done so many times. It's repeating steps. There we go. I'm trying to add a little bit of shape texture to the back of it, make it look really wrapped around. I think it'd be cool to put a little bit more body on this. I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, get a little bit more structure on this body as it goes this way. Maybe a hump on the back and a little bit
These look like feathery wings. Are these supposed to be?
Yeah. I'm going for feathers versus scales is
okay. Feathers
is
versus
what we got
scales.
going. Yeah, that's what we got going on. It's like which creature is going to win? You think? Does it have to do with feathers versus scale? I mean, it's just a theme. That's all.
I feel like scales feel more like armor to me.
But yeah, they're more battle ready.
But in the hard mouth, that seems like a nice advantage too.
But being able to fly down and swoop up, that's a pretty great advantage. Advantage. And you know, a lot of feathered creatures can be aquatic, just not as well as things that have scales and live in there, you know.
But you know, your brother and Brown Brush Steve are starting a cult in the chat, so I don't know how you.
It was bound to happen.
Types of things.
That was bound to happen. We're gonna have to, for the first time, we're gonna have to implement some YouTube blocking. What do you call it?
Filters, chat filters.
Who are these people trolling us? What did tell me about the cult? Am I in or am I out? That's what.
Well, let's see. I got to go back far enough here in the conversation and catch all of it. So I guess Ben said, "Love is the way," and Roundbrush said, "Sounds like words from your own cult, Ben." And then Ben said, "We have openings with the signing bonus if you're interested, Steve-O."
I see. Love.
Roundbrush said, "You had me at openings." So,
yeah.
They're offering teaspoons now. They're doing sales in your chat now. So,
okay. Nice.
I see why Ben makes such a good co-host, because he just does all this stuff with Steve live. No one has to read the chat to the rest of the group. You know, probably the rest of the group. You're the only one that isn't reading the chat. So really, that was all for you.
Nice. I'm gonna do what others have done well and leave some stuff to imagination here. What is on the lower half of this creature is going to be left to imagination, because we got splashing happening. We got splashing, nice. splashing in the picture. Yeah, it's the happening of splashes. We just call it splashing. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I'm convinced.
My picture includes splashioning, and it, you know, that's my strategy to make good story element. I got to rest my hand on the picture. I guess I probably don't have to. I can just, it's good training to not let your hand rest.
It sure is. I've definitely smudged plenty of paintings.
There we go. Got some little bit of reflection. You know what? We need more reflection. I think it'd be cool to put more. I'm wanting to see better three-dimensional quality on that wing. So I'm going to put this gray orange. I just mixed I did orange yellow, let it mix with some of that black purple. It's just a gray orange. So I'm going to take that and do my little feather strokes across whatever I imagine to be surface like this water. You know, it's parallel to my line of vision, anything like that. So we're going to put some reflection here and really squeeze it flat so that it looks like, you know, like I don't need to know the exact shape. Imagination will fill in a shape, but just rough estimation of where I might see that. See how to me that adds so much three-dimensional quality, those little bits of
I think it does.
Edge consideration.
It brings the texture up off the surface.
Yeah. They're battling, but how could we make this battle more severe? What if we made their tongues
rocket ships and
what if we made their tongues wrapping together? Then we'd be like, wait, that's not fighting. No, scratch that idea. It sounded good at a moment, then I realized it's bad.
I'm glad you figured that out for yourself. I think that's where Ben has a question here for you, and I think that's probably where his question stems from. He says, where do your ideas come from, Joe? What inspires you? What makes you decide on what to make?
Because I'm a shape lover. And so when you're a shape lover, you like things because of the shape that they are. My wife included. And so, you know, I just threw that in for giggles. Much more to my wife than her shape. And so when I think of creatures, I'm like, I really like the way the neck swoops. I really like, and I see the shapes on the canvas. I imagine them, and I think that would look good to paint that. So the ideas come from the love of the shapes that make these creatures. Probably, if I could be wrong, but that's. If I'm digging deep to try to find the answer, that's
well. So in this instance, I think the creatures came from, forgot the name, Greenleaf. Forgot the first name though. Remember there's the question about dragons fighting and violence. So I think that's what inspired adding these creatures.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's true.
If we were sitting here talking about your painting, if you're alone in your studio, what inspires this subject matter?
Yeah, right. So when it came to exactly what each dragon is going to look like, then my explanation applies. When it comes to why I went down this road, it was to please. I aim to please. That's it. Because it's fun. It's fun saying yes and being the person that can do it. And I just love the interaction of saying, let's do it.
But so if we weren't here, and you're going to paint something, what?
It'd be way more boring. It'd be so much more boring. I'd make something that I thought might sell, you know? And then the motivation is profit and not the joy of the moment. That's what would happen.
Your inspirations are aiming to please and profit.
That's it. And then there's all the inspiration to build it is shape by shape, line by line, color by color. Those are just really, it's a fun, stimulating process. And I think all of the above have a great place. You know, they all have a great purpose. There's a time when profit is a very good goal, because profit doesn't only represent paying your bills. It represents being valuable by the eyes of your society. you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
we don't, if a contractor that's coming to fix your broken pipes in your house is not making good profit, it may be because he doesn't do great work. Maybe.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
true.
and so
we passed a gas station that the gas was far below what all the other gas in town is priced at. It's like, well, I would never buy that gas. I don't know what they're doing to get their price that low, but I don't want it.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, so profitability does at some point represent good work, but it can be so boring because it tends to be washed out with the average of public opinion rather than one person's story. And one person's story has better relatability. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, that's cool. But there's a balance. There's a time. There's a time and place for all of them. So on this live stream, it's really fun to exercise the quick response. Like, all right, let's try it. Let's try to make it. I have a lot of fun trying to do that. But if I was trying to make something to sell.
Well, you're kind of in the best of both worlds then, because you get to address the masses and you get to address the individual. And that seems like a good place to be.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. If I could choose one job to just do for my job all the time, it'd be this. This is the funnest thing. Just painting with the crowd. Painting.
No one's saying we have to get off the live stream here. I'd be
able to try
a 5-hour live stream. Let's keep doing this as your job and just see how long it can go.
It was my happy place when I was in high school. We had, the art class was we had a great art teacher, and it was a very social environment. So we would be kind of turned loose to visit while we worked on our art projects. I think a lot of art classes are like that. There's a lot of visiting that takes place. And that was always a happy place for me.
Round Brush Steve is calling you out for not promoting your donation page more, which
okay.
You're supposed to be putting that link in the description. And
all right, good call, Round Brush, good call. Okay, let's go to buy me a coffee cake. Buy me a coffee.com, and you can just put /MuralJoe in there. Let's see if it works. buymeacoffee.com/mural. Boom. Right there. There's my picture. That teeny tiny dot that's hard to see. And you can click the support. And you can give me a tip. If you like my work, you're allowed to give me a tip. Thank you, Round Brush, for calling me out on that. I really appreciate it. He's such a good supporter. Yeah. One thing I don't like doing is being a fundraiser. I don't like being a fundraiser. So I do very much appreciate when people, I don't say no. Like when people give me something, I take it and say, wow, thanks. If my wealthy friend gives me $1,000, I'm like, wow, thanks, buddy. That's really nice. And so I do very much appreciate it. I'm not too shy to accept things given, but it
looks like you got more user submissions of art too.
I'm gonna look at those. Okay, I was working on.
I don't know what it's like for the wealthy friend to give, but my wealthy friend has never given me $1,000, but
it was a hypothetical. It was a hypothetical.
Okay. This isn't a thing your wealthy friend does all the time.
No. I do have a friend like that, and it's a testament to his generosity. He's somebody that for many people, if someone asks, he gives. He is so responsive, so giving whenever there's need. He's just that kind of guy. And he's a good friend. He came from being a church youth camp video editor. And he worked he worked at Hume Lake, and that's like a youth camp area. And it's a very humble job. It's just a very humble job. Not glamorous, not a lot of money. And he with a friend invented some successful software that started selling, and things took off. Business was formed. So much has happened since then, but he is just so generous. He never acts like anything except the person he was when, you know, he still is that person that doesn't have a lot. He still is that guy. You know, it's cool. It's really cool to see that. And so you meet people, you know, in my field, I get to work with all different kinds of people when I work in homes, doing art, doing murals. I get hired by really wealthy people. I get hired by very ordinary income class people. And, you know, I can't sum up there. It's really diverse. You just because you know somebody's, I really went off on a tangent on that subject. It's because the art brings it out. Just because you know somebody's income, you really, I've just learned firsthand. I know it's cliche and you've all heard it, but you just don't know a person by knowing their income class at all. So I'm really, you know, I really enjoy having a friend that's like that. So when he buys me lunch or when he buys something at the store, I never say, no, you don't have to do that. I don't dare say that. It's so stupid. It'd be so stupid to not let him. He's like, bro, I have literally 1,000 times your income. Don't pretend like you're gonna get this one. He doesn't say that, but I can just imagine.
The thing is, when that happens once, that friend says, "Oh, let me take care of lunch." It's like, wow, thank you, that's great. But at some point, it becomes awkward because you know they're not going to let you pay for lunch.
Yeah.
But it makes it hard to be like you want to go out for lunch with them because you genuinely want to go out for lunch with them. But you know they're going to pay if you offer to go to lunch with them. I think at that point it becomes awkward because it's like, I want to go to lunch with you, but I'm not asking you to buy me lunch. But I know you're going to do it anyways.
I hear what you're saying. That does exist. My opinion on that is you just got to get over it. You know, you just got to drop that and let them do what they enjoy doing. You know, the way we respect, in my opinion, a form of respect is letting someone do what they've been enabled to do. And if that means giving you something nice over and over until you die, you just got to let it. You just got to let them. You know, that's what I think. I thought I'd put a little bit of.
I agree. I think there's something important in learning to, whether you're wealthy or not wealthy, learning to accept help from others and letting people give you gifts and letting.
Yeah. You know, another take on it is accepting favor. Sometimes we feel like we're being squashed into the box of someone who needs help, but seeing it as someone showing you favor is maybe a different perspective on the same circumstance. Like, of course, we all know I can survive without this gift, but you like giving. I'm gonna learn how to appreciate the gift. You know.
Well, I've learned a lot of times when people offer help, in that moment, it's like, oh, I don't actually need this help. No, it's fine. And then like 2 days later, you're trying to wrap up some kind of project. You're, you know what? If I had actually accepted their help, I'd be in a lot better place right now trying to finish this thing up I'm trying to work on. So I'm not always great at it, but I've tried to learn that, like, when someone offers assistance of some sort, just take it.
That's good. This one's from Jeremy.
Art says, "Hi, I finally caught alive." Welcome.
Hey, all right, nice. Butter. Thanks for being here. This one's from Jeremy. He says, "Just sharing." Like, and man, this is
looks like a phoenix, like mid
very cool
ashes, like just starting to rise from ashes. I don't know if that's what they intended, but
this one, this is a piece where the longer I look, the more I like it. You know, I like it. I like it more because there's subtlety in it, and I didn't immediately see that these are. Yeah, phoenix-like creature, whatever. I don't know what you would call these creatures, but I can see a bird-like head stretching up out of very organic tree-like things. Very well.
There's a couple.
There's a couple of them, and the light and shadow look really, really attractive on it. Really very enjoy that. Yeah. definitely makes my mind wonder what what does this represent? What is the story? What's going on? Like lots of questions.
I want to know what's in that box. It's like they're protecting a box.
Oh yeah, it does kind of look like
or
that.
That's light coming through a window. It might be the window.
Maybe perhaps an old overgrown window. Maybe this is intended abstraction. Yeah, you can see a very square structure here. And so it makes you ask the questions. This is cool. I like this glow looks very foggy. And I just want to point out that we get a very foggy look when color is not added very much between the light and the dark. So that, and it's not good and bad, wrong and right. It's style. You know, this creates an overlaid mist. You know, like there's fog in the room, where a gradient,
when the midtones don't become more vibrant, you just get a
it creates a light on dark look. Light colored fog over a dark background lacks mid-tone color. That's probably an accurate way to describe it. So when I'm doing a gradient, if I add a whole bunch of color in here, it'll look like glowing light. It looks like maybe a sunburst, maybe just a glow, depending on how bright. But that's if I add all of the color color saturation as I go to the dark. If I don't do that, then I'm creating a cloudy fog. So you can control that. You know, in my picture, if I didn't pay attention to that, maybe the glow in my sky wouldn't look like a glow. Maybe this would look like a cloud fading off if I didn't strategize all the color where it's darkening. As it darkens, it gets a lot of color. How much I don't know. You experiment and see how much accomplishes the effect. I often do too much because I like effects and I overstate them frequently. But it's just a cool thing to know exists and to identify it in pictures. Familiar. So you can see both kinds in here. I can see a glow gradient that has color. So this looks like it's glowing. It has color as it goes into the shadow. This has no color as it goes in the shadow, so it looks like a fog. And both things together have a nice contrasting look. It's really cool. Good job. Thank you for sharing this, Jeremy. Great work. Sorry, Jonathan, I cut you off. You were saying something there.
I was just agreeing with you. Very cool.
Yeah, that's always the
Nice
best
work.
practice. That's the best practice. Just agree with me. You're just.
I tried it. In fact, actually, your brother said when he grows up, he wants to be just like you.
When he grows up. Nice. Thanks, brother. That's nice. That's a good compliment. All right. Well, I think we're out of time. I was thinking this maybe is like a peninsula, and we got waves coming this way and this way, and then where they meet, they crash. They double in size. So they come in here. This happens a lot on these peninsula-like. But this was just, this wave here was just this one was just a demo for how to get the perspective. So now what needs to happen is we need to merge them. So this one has a curl, but that curl got hit from the backside by this curl. And now we've got double curl happening.
Hey, Joe, Cat Marie in the Woods wants to know how they can get questions answered about your app. So you've got people using your app now, and they want.
Oh, nice. That's cool. First, okay, you're going to experience little big. It's going to have bugs in it. I appreciate you trying it and letting me know about those. So send an email right to me. Send an email to joe@muraljoe.com. Say I'm trying your app, and here is the issue that I'm experiencing. And then if you can screenshot, or maybe it's not a bug. Maybe you're just trying to figure out how it operates. And you know what? I'm glad you said that, because I need to get an instruction page, a documentation page posted.
Yeah, that wouldn't be hard to add, I don't think.
Yeah, just
put something on there that just kind of shows.
Thank you for the prompt. Yeah, but for now, you know what I should do? I should make a video on it. I'm getting ready to release another update. I worked all week on another update. So on these live streams, you're welcome to bring it up and let me know. So if there's something that I can help you with right this moment, I don't mind at all. It's kind of fun to open it and do some art on the digital app too. So ask away if you want to do it on the live stream. But if I don't hear from you, I'll wait for an email and work on posting a page about that. All right, we're trying to make this wave kind of ramp up a little bit and look like it merges. I'm thinking it kind of merges with this one. This one's getting stretched up here, like that. All right, I think it's time to call it a day. Are we at the 2-hour mark yet, Jonathan?
We're past the 2-hour mark.
Boy, we've just been having a great time this morning.
You were aiming for an hour and a half, weren't you?
I always aim for an hour and a half, knowing that it's not gonna stop there.
Yeah, I don't know how you break a cycle like that when you know it's gonna be this other thing.
Yeah,
the aim doesn't seem to matter a whole lot once you know it's gonna be something else.
Yeah, it is like that. Well, I'd say we accomplished some fun. That's the most important part. Accomplished something that's fun.
Cool painting.
Looked at the art that's out there. Got some really cool art going. Very good hanging out with everybody. And so, gosh, I'm glad to hear you're using that app. So send comments, questions my way. Just email them to me. All right, that's it. That's our finished work for the day. I'm looking at it. I got my computer screens in front of me, so you're looking at it behind my head. But whenever I look at it from this view, I can see how gigantic my big hairy head. A lot of people mistake me for someone younger just because from a distance I have the ratios of a child, a small body and a large head.
Oh, that's a nice trick. I'm gonna have to try that one.
Yeah, that's the way you can look young all the time. Just make your head
big-headed.
Yeah. Okay. Good hanging out with everybody. I'm going to shut it down. Jonathan, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Keeping the chat lively.